All right, welcome. The video today, doing on Monday, is finally something a little different. We're going to take that fraction stuff and kind of put it to use in what's known as changing units. And when we're talking about changing units, this is from your lovely math book here. Changing units, we're talking about those, what you would measure things in length, inches, feet, yards, miles, or maybe you're measuring fluid, ounces, cups, pints, quarts, gallons, or maybe you're measuring a weight in ounces, pounds, or tons. Those are units, okay? And certain things that we want you to just know are the ones they give in the book. So, for example, did you know there are 12 inches in a foot? Probably. Or there are 3 feet in a yard? 50% of the people probably know that. Or that there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So those are some units of measure, and they're equivalent pieces of one another. So let's try some of these problems together. And what to make sure you think of is that, hey, you can do it, people. You can do it. I mean, look at that determined, adorable face. You can do this. So what type of problem might you see? Well, let's start with something like construction. So let's say a carpenter has a board. So I'm going to draw out a board. So we're talking about carpentry. Okay, construction. He has a board and it is 10 feet in length. Okay. And then he decides he's going to cut this board. And he cuts a piece 5 feet 3 inches long from this board. So he cuts a piece that is 5 feet 3 inches long from that board. He cuts it off. What is the length in feet of the remaining piece? So here's the remaining piece here that I noticed from up here. If he cuts it, what's the length? All right, so we know we need to take 10 feet and we need to subtract off 5 feet 3 inches. So now the units are very important. So we could do one of two things here. We could change them into fractions and do something we're used to with fractions, because this part is a fractional amount of feet. Here we just have 10 feet. But then here we have 5 feet and a fractional amount of feet right here. They're in inches. But I can say we have 3 inches out of how many total inches in a foot? That you should probably know off the top of your head. 12. So we're really taking 10 feet and subtracting off 5 and 3/12 feet. And 3/12 is really what? As a simplified fraction, if we divide both those by 3, we are at 1/4. So I'm going to write that as 1/4. So I need to take 10 and subtract off 5 1/4. So to do that, I see I have some type of fraction here. So I need to make both these single fractions. So that's going to be 10 over 1. This is going to be, again, we've been doing this in class, 21 over 4. Can I subtract them yet? No. I need common denominators. So I'm going to multiply both these by 4. And I'm at 40 over 4 minus 21 over 4, which now I can subtract. And I have a certain number of fourths. And how many do I have? So if I take 40 minus 21, I am at what, people? 19. And then you would be like, I need to convert it back. So we need to convert 19/4 back to a mixed number. 4 goes into 19. Not 3 times. Actually 4. So it's 4, but it didn't go in perfectly, so we have something left over. And what is left over? 3. And we were dividing by 4. So that piece remaining, after he cut that piece of wood, what is the length of that board? 4 and 3/4 feet. All right, so that's one problem that you could see that deals with length. Now let's go to something that deals with liquids or capacities. Liquid capacity. So let's say Joe, he's drinking some juice. So he has a certain amount of juice, and in this big pitcher he has 30, so here's the juice, he has 30 ounces of juice. And we're wondering how many half-cup servings, 1.5 cup servings, does he have? How many 1.5 cup servings can he pour out? Could he pour out 1 serving? Could he pour out 2? Could he pour out 3? Could he pour out more? So the issue we have here is that here I'm in ounces and here I'm in cups. So like the topic said, where you can do this, was changing units. That's what we're doing. We need to change some units. So we need to look at either changing ounces into cups or change 1.5 cups into ounces. So think about that, which way to go with it. So you could go, let's go ahead and look at the conversion. We need a conversion of ounces and cups. So I look in the capacity section, and the ounces and cups, I see it on there. The ounces and cups, for every cup, there's 8 ounces. So for every 1 cup, there's 8 ounces. So I'm going to take this 30, we have to take that 30 ounces, and we need to divide it up into 1.5 cup servings. Because we're trying to figure out how many of these we can get out of 30 ounces. But right now, they are not the same unit, so we need to make them the same before we start the division. Since we know every cup is 8 ounces, I could take this 30 ounces and convert it into cups. Is it going to be more than 1 cup? Is it going to be more than, well, yeah, it is, because 30 is more than 8. How about more than 2 cups? Yes, because 2 cups would be 16 ounces. How about 3 cups? 3 cups would be 24 ounces. How about 4 cups? Well, 8 times 4 is 32, so now we know that it's a little less than 4 cups. So it's going to be a fractional amount. To find that fraction, I could do 30 divided up into 8, because that's what we were doing. We were cutting it up and figuring out how many 8s are in 30. So this is improper, so if we convert it to a mixed number, said it went in 3 times, and we are left with 6. So 3 and 6/8, which if we divide these both by 2, we're at 3 and 3/4. So we know 30 ounces is 3 and 3/4 cups. So now if we want to know how many 1.5 cup servings are in 3 and 3/4 cup, I'm going to take 3 and 3/4 cup and divide it into groups in 1 and 1.5 cup. And now it's what we're used to. We have the same unit, and now we have numbers to divide with. So I'm going to go ahead and divide 3 and 3/4 divided by 1 and 1/2, feeling confident that you guys out there already know how to do this. So I'm at 4, multiply and add, 15/4 divided by 3/2. Now before I keep, change, flip, I can see if I can divide straight across without getting a decimal. And here 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So actually I don't need to do keep, change, flip, because dividing straight across gave me whole numbers. And now I'm left with an improper fraction. So I'm going to take 5 divided by 2 to get that mixed number. 2 goes into 5 twice. I'm left with 1, so there's my answer. 2, I was left over with 1, and I was dividing by 2. And that is how many servings I can get out of 30 ounces, right? How many 1.5 cup servings can I get out of that? I can get 2 and half a serving more. 2.5 servings. So on Monday, be prepared. We're going to go through a weight example and then practice with the capacity and the length. And remembering this whole time that you can, people, you can do it. See ya.